What's going on, fanatics? Welcome to the channel. So good to have you here. So, as promised, today I'm going to give my full non-spoiler review of Supergirl. Got the opportunity to watch the fan screening last night, gave my out of the theater reaction, and now I want to give my full review. Between last night and now, I have since started seeing some of the more of the reviews that are out there, and Supergirl definitely has some mixed reviews. But I want you to know that when you come to this channel, you're going to get my opinion. I don't try to ride the wave of what's popular or try to go against what's popular just to get clicks. I just like to give my review in my own personal opinion because I love movies. With that being said, Supergirl has a lot of mixed reviews, but I knew that going in. I knew that would be the case because it was announced that it was based off of the graphic novel. Knowing the graphic novel, loving the graphic novel, but knowing the story, I knew that it probably wasn't going to land with everybody because it's a true grit in space story, you know what I mean? And so I knew that that wouldn't resonate with everyone. It resonated with me. I thought it was a fantastic graphic novel, so I was looking forward to this movie when they announced it. So if you saw my out of theater reaction, then you know I actually liked the movie. I dug it. Was it the best thing since sliced bread? No. Was it everything I hoped it would be? No. Did it meet my expectations? No. But it was still, I still dug it. I still had a good time at theaters. And I'm going to explain why. And we'll also explain what I didn't like. So, as always, this will be non spoiler. If I happen to slip in spoiler territory, I will put up the spoiler warning, but I'm going to try to stay as spoiler free as possible. And with all these reviews, I like to start with what I liked, then I go into what I didn't like, and then I give my overall thoughts ranking. So with that being said, Supergirl, directed by Craig Gillespie, who also did I, Tonya, starring Millie Alcott as Kara Zor-El, Jason Momoa as Lobo, Eve Ridley as Ruthie. David Cornsweet is in this as Superman. Written by Anna Nogueira. I apologize for killing the name there. And overall, this movie is essentially about Supergirl is celebrating her birthday. And I put that in quotes because that's in the trailers, but it's more than that. And when you watch the film, you'll realize it's more than just, oh, she's out getting drunk for her birthday. It's way deeper than that. But anyways, Supergirl is visiting red sun planets so that she can feel the effects of alcohol. And at one particular planet, one particular bar, she runs into this girl who is looking for revenge for her family, who was killed by Krim of Yellow Hills, who's played by Matthias. I'm gonna kill your name, so not Skolnarts, who's a fantastic actor. He plays Krim. So Krim kills her parents, and she's essentially trying to get revenge and find him and kill Krim. And that's the story. Now, what did I like? Millie Alcott as Supergirl got a lot of pushback from fans, and I don't know why. She killed it, especially for this story. She was fantastic, and I think she's going to make a fantastic Supergirl going forward. And I hope this movie does well enough to where we get more of her Supergirl. I like this version of Supergirl. I like the story arc that she has in this film, and I like what she becomes on the back end of this. And I want to see that Supergirl in more films, and I hope we get that. I thought that Jason Momoa as Lobo, I mean, that's pretty much perfect casting, like Ryan Reynolds with Deadpool. Like, Jason Momoa as Lobo was phenomenal. I thought Eve Ridley did a good job as Ruthie, and I liked Matthias. I'm not going to kill his name again as Krim. I thought that the relationship between um, Kara and Ruthie was good. That was a good dynamic. That's kind of the True Grit vibes I got. Again, I like how Lobo is utilized. I was afraid that Lobo, that it would be, because it's Jason Momoa, that it would become the Supergirl and Lobo movie, and it isn't. A matter of fact, he's not in this as much as you would think he is in, based on the trailers. But when he's there, it's huge. He makes an impact, and he steals the show. Like when he's on screen, all eyes are on him, and rightfully so. I like why Supergirl is going through what she's going through. I thought the Krypton part of this story was fantastic. I got a bruise on my arm. I had a physical today. It matches my shirt. Anyways, I thought the Krypton stuff was phenomenal. I kind of wish we could have got more of that, but that wasn't the point of this story. But what they did with that was great. I like the relationship between Kara and Crypto. I thought it was cool. What else? What else? I like the way this film was shot. I thought Craig Gillespie, I'm sorry if I'm messing up your name, shot this very well, made some good choices. Especially the space stuff. The space stuff looks incredible. I thought the fight choreography was dope. Supergirl can fight. This ain't Superman. She can fight. She kick ass. The fight scenes was great. The use of her superpowers were great. I like that you get to see her fight without superpowers. I thought that was cool. So yeah, those are all things that I liked about the film. I can't say enough about Millie Alcott. I think the pushback, the backlash, whatever, her casting was definitely misinformed. I thought she was probably one of the highlights of the film, is how she portrayed Kara in this movie. What didn't I like? So I thought some of the dialogue was kind of elementary, if you will, not to the point where it took away from the movie for me, like majorly, but some of the dialogue was kind of bad. I thought that the pacing was bad, and here's why. So this is not a spoiler. You can find this out in the trailer. But essentially, the reason why Supergirl now is involved with Ruthie is because Krim poisons Crypto, and she has to get the antidote from Krim. And because of that, that adds a layer of urgency in the timeline of the movie. My problem with that is I think they get to Krim too quickly, and we don't get enough of the really good stuff of the movie, which was Kara, why she is the way she is, what the emotions she's going through, and what she has done because of what she's been through. I don't think we got enough of that. I don't think we got enough of Krim doing the bad things that he does, like in the book, because some of the complaints that I've heard online, and people have their opinion and they're right to it, is that Krim's not really a good bad guy. And the thing is if you read the book, he's not a major part of the book. So I wasn't expecting him to be the Joker, or Lex Luthor, right? He does something that causes these two to have to come together, and that is about it. However, he's a bad dude, and they show this in the film, but in the comic book you get to see more of why he's a bad dude. And I just wish that they didn't have to rush to get to the Krim piece of it, but you got to see more of the planet to planet travel that is in the book and the after effects of Krim being at that planet and what he has done at that planet and how that impacts Ruthie and Kara. I didn't think there was enough of that. It's in the movie, but there wasn't enough of that because of the urgency that they had about crypto. I think by making that piece part of the story and the timeline that they were on caused them to rush through some really good parts of the film that are in it, but it's only in it for brief moments and then they have to move on because they're on a timeline. So that part messed it up for me. And then there's one glaring thing that really took me out of the movie, and that is Kara and Ruthie's relationship. Kara gives Ruthie. So again, this is not anything that you didn't see in the trailers, but Ruthie essentially wants to kill Krim because he killed her family. And Kara essentially tells Ruthie that going that route won't change things, it won't help her, and won't make her feel better. And you see a part of that speech in the trailer, but she goes in a little more detail in the film, which makes sense and that's cool and that's dope that she would say that. My issue was you don't know how Kara got to that point. Like, what lesson did she learn? What did she do that caused her to know and realize that by going down the path of revenge and killing someone, what that does to you and how heavy that weighs on you. You understand what I'm saying? So that was kind of glaring to me. Like, yeah, anybody could say that, but to say it with such conviction means you've been there before. And then there's a moment in the film where that kind of comes back, and I'm not spoiling, but that kind of comes back. But because they don't really explain how Kara got to that mindset, when it comes back, it doesn't quite land the way it should have landed. There's a moment in the scene where Kara does something that should have had a major, oh, snap, wow moment, but it didn't hit like that. At least not for me. It didn't land like that for me. I think if they would have flushed that out or fleshed that out a little bit, how did she get to this point? When it comes back up, it would have really landed and hit. And there were a few moments like that where certain things didn't land like they should have landed because it didn't get fleshed out enough. And those were weak moments, admittedly, in the film. Oh, you know what? Something else that I liked that I didn't mention. I thought that they did a great job of establishing Supergirl and the tone that Supergirl will have in the DC universe. They made sure you knew this is not like Superman. This is not a James Gunn film. This is a completely different person with a different tone, a different vibe, but that fits in the overall universe. I thought they did a great job of making Supergirl her own. They spent time on that in this film, and what she becomes on the back end of this movie, like I mentioned at the start of my review, I want to see more of. However, there's lighthearted moments. Obviously, Jason Momoa as Lobo brings a lot of fun to it. There are some jokes that I thought were funny. Everyone in my theater, first off, my theater was packed, and everyone was laughing and having a good time. I thought most of the jokes landed. A matter of fact, there's a specific joke about Superman's costume that I thought was perfect. And then they pay it off later on in the movie. I thought the addition of Superman was good because it added continuity between the two films and obviously the DCU universe. And I thought they did a great job of showing the awkwardness of their relationship because these two didn't know each other and were forced to be together. I do think that there's just enough of that, but that Superman's presence doesn't take over this film. This is a Supergirl movie. And again, they do a great job of establishing who she's going to be in the DCU. So I think those are all the things that I didn't like about the movie. I will say this. I thought the actor who played Krim was good enough for what he had to do in this film. Krim isn't meant to be, like I mentioned, Darth Vader or some bad guy that you want to keep seeing it over and over in other films. He had a job to do and he doesn't. And I thought that Matthias did a good job playing him. However, overall, I don't think, and I knew this, but I was hoping this wouldn't be the case. I love that graphic novel. I think it's a fantastic story. I think it's a fantastic Supergirl story. I don't think it was the right decision to adapt that book, at least right now, with the DCU being brand new and trying to launch. Not saying that they did the wrong thing bringing in Supergirl. That I think was a good idea because, historically, you're going to get Superman, you're going to get Batman, you're going to get Wonder Woman. So instead, James Gunn is doing something different, with Creature Commandos, then Superman, then Supergirl, then the Lanterns, which I think makes sense. It's new. But this particular story is not it's not going to reach across the board. It's not going to reach everybody. And that's what DCU needs. For it to reach everybody, it would have had to have been a perfect movie, and it was not. Was it good to me? Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. But I knew going in when I heard that this was the story that they were going to do, like, I don't know if this is a good idea, man. Because DCU needs hits because they're just starting. I kind of wish because Lobo was so dope that instead of adopting that story, that they went somewhere else where like maybe Lobo was the main bad guy initially and was conflict between the two of them. I think that would have probably resonated more with more audiences and would have been a bigger hit. I'm saying that, and the movie just came out, so Supergirl. I may be wrong. It may resonate with enough people, and it becomes a hit. I'm just basing this off of what I'm seeing online and how divided or not divided, how mixed the reviews are. That it doesn't sound like this is going to be the massive hit that DCU needs. But I could be wrong because, like I said, the people in my theater was packed and they loved it. People were cheering, clapping, laughing, and having a grand old time. So overall, what are my thoughts on the scale of 1 to 5? 1 being this is trash, zone out, skip this one. 5 being it is a must see, it's fantastic. I'm going to give it a 3.5. Not quite a 4, because the things that I didn't like were distracting enough for me to where it took away from how good this movie could be. But it didn't take away enough for where I would say this movie was not good. I think the movie was good. I think it was worth seeing. I think it was worth seeing in theaters. Was it excellent? No, which is why it was a 3.5. But acting was good. The fight scenes were great. Cinematography was great. Pacing was a little off. Some of the dialogue was off. And again, what I mentioned in regards to not fleshing certain parts of Kara's story makes other things not land the way they should, which is why I give it a 3.5. But overall, I dug it. And I hope we get more of this Supergirl because she was dope. She was dope. But, anyways, what do you all think? Do you plan on watching this film? Uh, Let me know if you are or if you have. Would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Appreciate you watching. Thanks so much for watching. Do me a favor. If you like the content, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe. And hit that little alarm button as well so you can get alerted whenever I post new content. And also, do me a favor, share with other people who you think would like this content as well. We have a big goal of 1,000 subscribers we're trying to get to, and we need your help. Appreciate it. Till the next one. Peace.